live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. Great to be with you on this fine Wednesday, September 28th. Let me come out of the darkness here a sec. We're going in depth tonight on something that's trending probably on our website, sexual misconduct allegations against Tim Ballard. If you're from Utah or you've consumed any of our coverage here over the years, you probably know the name, the former leader of Operation Underground Railroad. Before we dive in, we've got to look at kind of before we get there, let's take a look at some of the social media thoughts earlier today. We'll get there in just a sec. So as we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. You can use the hashtag 2NewsLive to join the conversation. You can always find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You can send us a direct message to any of those platforms to weigh in. So here's what we're talking about. Ultimately, these misconduct allegations came out recently against Tim Ballard. This has to do with OUR's presence, basically Operation Underground Railroad, operational out of Utah here for many, many years. They would go to other countries. They would seek out trafficking operations, make connections there, try to assist people that were going through this. There's some reaction here tonight that's come out on social media over the last 24 hours about Tim Ballard because there was always a connection between Tim, Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes, and others. So Reyes has said himself that he's gone out on some of these operations, at least one that we are aware of. Let's go. We have this tweet here. Representative Andrew Stoddard gave 2 News a statement this afternoon after the tweet you just saw. It reads in part here, as constituents of Attorney General Reyes, Utahns deserve a statement from him about his involvement with Operation Underground Railroad and his relationship with Tim Ballard. He went on to say, we deserve to know what he knew and what he knows about the allegations facing the organization and Mr. Ballard. His silence is unacceptable. Continuing our coverage, you see the original tweet there, by the way. It's from Representative Andrew Stoddard, who released a statement, and he says, has Sean Reyes said anything about OUR or Tim Ballard yet? That was from last night, shortly after Senator Mike McKell, also very active on social media. We appreciate those that are, by the way, because it's a little something that we can get a feeling of what some of these people are thinking. Mike McKell says at this point, it is a fair question. So we're waiting to hear what Sean Reyes has to say. 2 News reached out to the Attorney General's office today and got a response that said they will let us know when they have something to put out, which is the state of how things work in 2023. We wait for the statements. Beyond that, new comments today from the attorney who women accusers of Tim Ballard have now as their representative. The women say Ballard subjected them to sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, grooming, as well as sexual misconduct. We first reported on this a couple of weeks ago when Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they released a statement saying Tim Ballard used the names of high-ranking church leaders for personal and financial interests. To be very fair, a lot of this comes from a Vice News article. They've done a lot of articles on OUR over the years. This is another one of those. Brian Malahy was at the event today. He joins us now live at the state capitol. Brian, you listened in. You asked the attorney some questions there. What was the overall tone from the attorney, and did she really have many specifics at this point?
Not a lot of specifics. So we asked about, okay, how many women, she wouldn't say. How many more women out there might have some information that would be in line with what you've heard so far? She said several. The women's names have not been released. They want to maintain their privacy. But having said that, I think the overarching theme here was, look, Tim Ballard and others may be saying these things didn't happen. They're not true, and the women wanted to have this statement today and to make the point that these statements are, quote, unequivocally true, according to them. So you mentioned them, the harassment, sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, exactly what that means. We didn't get an answer to that today. Also grooming and sexual misconduct. There have been stories that Tim Ballard, told some of these women, hey, play my wife when we go on some of these trips so that we can, keep up appearances, apparently, for the people that they're dealing with, presumably human traffickers. But the attorney would not confirm that today in the comments. Will these women actually speak, themselves, come forward? The attorney today left open that possibility. That could in fact happen. But this was really the first public statement that was issued on behalf of the women accusers.
So Brian, when you mention if they will ever speak, was there any indication that they felt like more folks were going to come out about this? Like, what would, in theory, in terms of those victimized, what do you feel will happen next from this?
There are a lot of questions about, okay, what's next, et cetera. She wasn't going to speculate on that, but she did say in response to a question that we posed to her that she believes there are several more women. That's the way she put it. And then I kind of doubled back and said, well, okay, several more women in addition to the women that you've already heard from, and then she wouldn't comment any further about that. So we're led to believe that there are several more women out there that she thinks, this attorney thinks, Suzette Rasmussen believes, that have other, information, have more information about the goings-on with Tim Ballard as it relates to Operation Underground Railroad and these allegations that have been made against him.
Brian Malahi live for us tonight up at the Capitol. Brian, we appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live for this. This will not be the last time we talk about this, undoubtedly, because this is very in the beginning stages of what's been going on in terms of these allegations over the last few weeks involving Tim Ballard. Now, in a statement today, Operation Underground Railroad said that Ballard's alleged misconduct does not represent their values. Also, that doesn't change their mission. They remain dedicated to combating sexual abuse. Mind you, from all of this, Ballard does not work at OUR anymore. This has been a few months out of the making ever since his video that circulated, of course, around the world, heavily produced Sounds of Freedom. So really not connected to that organization right now. All of this stems from his time with them, though. We sent out this push alert when we started streaming the statement this morning. To get updates like this, be sure to download the 2 News mobile app. We got to let you know what's going on. It's the easiest way to get in the know on the go. All right, so let's talk to Wendy Halloran here, because you have been talking about Paul Bryant for a while. A lot of pieces about Paul. In this case, the bombshell in the case of Paul Bryant, who faced a judge earlier this week in Utah. Wendy, what's the latest here as it pertains to Paul? What did you uncover again?
So he was in court earlier this week. He's facing 3 third-degree felony charges for failing to register, which is related to his being the president of his homeowners association going back 3 years. So that is one specific case. However, I have been investigating Mr. Bryant for almost 2 years now, to be brutally honest with you. And I found something in supervision records after he was convicted of the sex crimes against his adopted children. He was put on adult probation and parole supervision for 60 months. It didn't last that long, but some of the entries that I found that the agent made in their database called Offender Track call into question what he was allowed to do. And these entries have to do with ammunition, firearms, reloading equipment, magazines, extended capacity magazines that would be used to reload a firearm. Mr. Bryant is a convicted felon, which is a restricted person, a prohibited possessor. He's not allowed to be around firearms or ammunition. Yet what I found, and I don't want to give it away, he was allowed around this.
Just quickly, what is next as it pertains to Mr. Bryant? He had a court hearing, obviously, this week. Right. Where are we in that status of everything?
It's actually in the preliminary stages. So Monday was the preliminary hearing, and the judge ruled that they could go forward with the charges that he faces. So it's headed to trial.
All right, and a long way to go then.
A long way to go, but it does not appear that the Utah County Attorney's Office has any willingness to offer a plea deal in this case, because he's a repeat offender. Remember, he went into the school, Legacy Elementary School, several years ago, dressed as Prince Charming, and he was around children the same age as his victims. So this continues. This behavior continues.
Your piece tonight at
10.
10.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very important story. I hope everyone can watch.
Thank you, Wendy. Tonight, 10 o'clock, 2 News. You know where to see it. Wendy has, of course, been following this case, as you mentioned, Wendy, from the very beginning. And as you mentioned, it's been at least a few years here. You can find all of Wendy's reporting, of course, in-depth investigative reports on our website, KUTV.com. All you have to do is click on the 2 News Investigates tab. Talk about our forecast here, what's coming up, and where we are headed with a storm brewing.
Right.
Chase Thomason.
I mean, the weather's been perfect all week.
Yes.
Right. So we all know that. But what we don't know is exactly the evolution of the storm. But here's the very latest. Continues to kind of change just a bit, Brian. We're going to be a little bit warm and breezy for the next few days. But right now, it looks like most of the rain might arrive Saturday night. So if you have any Saturday plans, you should be okay. And then it could linger into early next week. So let's get right to your forecast. It's a cooler fall storm. Today, though, it has been quite spectacular. Even though we're about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, we're hovering in the mid-70s right now in Salt Lake City. Again, really comfortable, not too warm, closer to average. Wind speeds have been a little breezy at times, but nothing too gusty, 10, 15 miles an hour out of the northwest, ushering in that slight cool down. Now tonight, though, as that sun goes down, it's going to be a little chilly out there across a good chunk of the state, especially northern Utah and a good chunk of Nevada. 36 in Elko tonight. We'll be in the low to mid-50s along the Wasatch Front with some low 40s in southwestern Wyoming. But look at Logan. How about 39 degrees? Keep in mind, though, that low temperature happens right around sunrise. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be climbing back into the 80s, a little bit warmer as we wrap up the work week and head into your weekend. Lots of low 80s in central Utah, back to near 90 degrees in St. George. But again, it's very sunny for your Friday. And Friday evening, big game down in Provo. Brian Schnee is going to be there. Cincinnati at BYU. Kickoff is at 8:15, so it's very late. But I'd still grab a jacket. At 8 o'clock, it's 72, but most of the game will likely be in the 60s down in Utah County. And then our storm moves in for the second half of your weekend. There it is out in the Pacific, eventually pushing into California, and that's where the rain will be on Saturday. Notice, pretty dry on Saturday. There might be some isolated showers out there, but most of the rain is to our west, impacting Nevada. And then here comes the widespread rain impacting the I-15 corridor, especially in northern Utah and along the Wasatch Front overnight. So after midnight on Saturday, so if you have any Saturday evening plans, I think you're going to be okay. But Saturday night into Sunday morning, we have rain from Logan down to Provo and some scattered showers down in southern Utah. And it's pretty hit or miss Sunday afternoon, but a chance for a little bit of rain and maybe a little bit of high elevation snow above 9,000 feet. Those snow levels are still staying high. These are not that cold fall storms quite yet. And when it comes to rain totals, though, pretty decent in northern Utah. So if you need to fertilize your lawns, Saturday is the day to do it. Sunday, we could see a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of rain, not as high down across southern Utah. Then on Monday, maybe another 1/10 of an inch of rain for northern Utah. St. George, your best chance for rain will likely be Sunday morning. But look at these temperatures in the 80s and 90s dropping into the low 70s Sunday and Monday. And then by the middle part of the week, it looks really nice. Sunny weather is back with temperatures in the 80s. Salt Lake, we're in the low 80s through Saturday, and then here comes our cool down. 66 on Sunday, 59 on Monday. And again, looks like those showers might linger into Monday, and then by Tuesday, maybe 1 or 2 stray showers. Middle part of the week, still kind of cool. We're in that pattern of temperatures in the 60s, a little bit below normal. But by the end of the week, though, the sun is back, and I think we might be rebounding into the low 70s. So I know this weekend, at least on Sunday, might be a little wet. We'll see, but the following weekend is looking pretty nice right now.
That's a major cool down, too.
Yeah, but not too cold.
So I know that Monday morning, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to hop on Facebook, scrolling through. I'm going to see a picture from Chase Thomason of some sort of mountain snow somewhere. I know it'll be somewhere
we will
from
see
this from this storm.
It might be from me. Stay tuned.
Okay.
I might be
That's
taking
a deep,
that photo.
That is a deep tease
that is
there.
A tease.
All right, we gotta wait a few days for that.
You're
All right.
gonna.
Thank you, Chase. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Again, another in-depth version on some big things that you're clicking on our website. We'll do it again tomorrow. However, tomorrow's a different day. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be in Provo with some of my friends down there, of course, at BYU's first Big 12 conference game here in Provo. So they will take on Cincinnati, also a brand new Big 12 team.
Right, 2-2.
Both,
not the best record.
Well, both teams are looking for their first Big 12 conference win. So something's got to give here. Should be a great time. If you're going to be down there, please say hello. We will also be live here, of course, at 5:30, but throughout our different newscasts. Okay. So should be a great night for football.
I look forward to the preview.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Thanks again for watching. We will be here tomorrow. He's Chase.
You're Brian.
I know that. See you tomorrow.